2020 Indy 500 officially in the history books. Sato wins it in a Honda-powered car. If you watch some of my earlier videos, I said that it would be Sato or Dixon in a Honda-powered car winning this race. It's exactly how it turned out. The Honda cars were superior today, which left the Chevy cars a little bit in the dust. Newgarden was the only Chevy-powered car up in the top 5. Which brings me to the topic of today's video, the disappointing 2020 Indy 500 for Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso's disappointing 2020 Indy 500 with McLaren. We will now get to see Fernando Alonso next in Formula One with a 2-year deal with Renault, which means that no Indy 500s for Fernando Alonso for at least 2 years. Where does that leave him? Let's look back at the 2020 Indy 500 that wound up being a pretty disappointing event for Fernando Alonso. He was never really a factor in this race, and I want to take a quick flashback look at why he was never a factor in this race and where he ended up. Alonso's quest for the Triple Crown this year started with a rough practice where he wound up crashing. He didn't damage the car too badly, but he did cause some initial damage to that Aero McLaren car. Could have been a lot worse, as we would wind up seeing in the Indy 500, where a car would spin out and crash in that exact location. But I think this comes down to the seat time that I was talking about. And as a result, from some pretty bad practices and the Chevy-powered cars that we talked about, he does not have a great starting spot for this Indy 500. It's not like 2017, where he was on row 2 in the middle. He winds up in the middle of row 9 for this one, way back there with a lot of the other Chevy-powered cars. When the race gets going, we see the power of the Honda cars right away. Scott Dixon, Sato, blowing right by Marco Andretti, who kind of had a disappointing race himself. But Fernando Alonso is going to be stuck back in the middle of the pack. And one thing we saw in this Indy 500 today was that a lot of cars really struggled with mid-pack racing. Early on in the race, we had some weird mechanical failures happen. This was kind of one that we don't really see too often in Indy, where brakes catch fire like this and wind up losing your front wheel. But yeah, going back to Fernando Alonso, he got stuck in the middle of this pack a lot, and this was a day where passing was not easy, and working your way up through the midfield wasn't as easy as it was in the past. Another big thing, though, from a positive point for him, his McLaren teammates had a lot of issues. We see pretty big crash here, taking out one of his McLaren teammates. So good news for Alonso is this is actually the first Indy 500 that he completes. You know, he had such a good run in 2017. But a mechanical failure forces him to retire that car, an engine retirement. So this is actually his first time finishing the entire 500 miles, and things could have gone worse. This was that other crash we talked about, where a driver struck that inside of the pit wall, the tire barrier there. Alonso just missing that in practice. This was a really big wreck that ultimately wound up ending the Indy 500. But yeah, I think this package and the engines that Chevy brought didn't really allow Alonso any chance to work his way up, and he winds up a lap down throughout this race. He pit a whole bunch early on in the race too to try and maybe use tire wear to get back, caught back up, but it just didn't work out. Honda dominated. We see Sato crossing the line with Dixon and Rahal. 1, 2, 3. Definitely a Honda day. Takuma Sato getting his second Indy 500. Congratulations to him and his Honda Power cars. Funny to see David Letterman out there. But ultimately for Fernando Alonso, this just wasn't going to work out in his favor today. And I do think that part of it was seat time. We saw that in the crash. And I think part of it was also that Honda Power cars were just superior. He did also bring up that he had a clutch issue. He reveals that the 21st place finish here might have been an issue with the clutch, and that was hindering his ability to come up through the field throughout this race. He reiterates how happy he was to just race all 200 laps, 500 miles, something he had not actually achieved yet in Indy. And now he's going to have to wait 2 more years to get another shot at it. So his IndyCar run comes to an end here in 2020. It may be his last Indy 500. It may not be. We talked about that in a past video. I do believe that after his 2-year deal with Renault is over, that we will see him back. But for now, our focus turns to Alonso's return to Formula One. And you have to wonder, will he be at all distracted thinking about what could have been with the Triple Crown in IndyCar, or is he totally focused? We'll find out. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe.